And thanks for joining us. Well, this afternoon, we know that last weekend, some new patriotic party delegates who voted in the party's presidential primaries openly told journalists how much they made from candidates in the primaries. Well, they had been paid, allegedly, from their own account to either influence their choice when and how they actually voted. So we've been capturing all that in a report for you here at SFs.
Okay, I received 7.5.
From which of the aspirants?
The aspirants, Canada Japan, he pay and executives then pay 50 cedis. So we complete 7.5.
Are you happy with what you received so far?
Oh, I'm not happy, but still now will be the one when it's in pocket. You just give us. So you understand?
Which of the constituencies do you belong? Are you a delegate yourself?
Yes, I'm a delegate. I'm voting for Ken.
Which of the constituencies do you belong to in Ablekuma here?
Me, I did for Abosokan electoral area.
My name is NPP Presidential Francis from Ablekuma Central.
So how much have you been able to also receive from the aspirants so far?
Oh, I received 300 cedis from Canada Japan's camp and 400 cedis from Honorable Baumia, Dr. Baumia camp, and the national 50 cedis. Yeah.
Are you okay with the amount?
Oh, I'm not okay, but I'll take it so.
So that is to say that Ablekuma Central here, the aspirant, mainly the Baumia and as well as Kennedy, they are giving you money.
Yes,
to
please.
Vote for them, to influence.
Yes, to vote for them. But the other aspirants, we've not had anything from them.
Why?
I don't know.
So where did your vote go to?
My votes went to Baumia. Yes.
Is it because he paid you bigger?
No. I just love the man.
So far, Baumia is 400 Ghana. If we answer, if we are to do this, if we are to do this, so far, Baumia is 100 Ghana. You will new Adenta electoral area. How much them say your coordinator no? Honorable Ken also supported Baumia. Enunti Sikano, or man fan shelling them from the Kusin Pass, and also any cruise on your four, or much is canning. It is in what banana because say, oh, my yim started, who is any platform of one of the Trabanama. And so, because the CNI could room, you know, or provide EB, by could 8,000 can or no, dear gun. I am going to trap. I told you, maybe you watch us, me a police station chairman, or Bible. I don't know your mother's class. Oh, and yes, I say on my stand, a TNT, because maybe I'm a free by Manaka, and I'm a year Jumanso, and I'm a Jama Juma, and let me in my baby. And then started a year Jumancasa, and I'm a Java behind here, so it's my TNT. TNT near the bribe on the edge. We have a boat, we have a boat, we have a film comes out, someone wants it here. About you, my iska. One of my coaches Canadian. We have a boat, yes, here. I don't know how to miska. We have a miska, but that's all miska. What do you mean? My coaches Canada, one crown or county, did your machine here, or no support to them. Once your man farmer here. Once your man.
Well, excerpts of what transpired over the weekend during the NPP's presidential primaries, but that action can have dire consequences on Ghana's democracy. In fact, some of the country's problems, as we know, could easily have been resolved if people were allowed to choose candidates that they believed were fit for the job. In opposition, these candidates are unable to raise such huge amounts of monies to allegedly, as we're saying now, buy votes. But certainly, the claim is that it's done more often when they're controlling, as we know it, the public purse. That's been the allegation all throughout. This afternoon, we're actually shining that light on how vote buying can affect your quality of life, even if, of course, or even kill you prematurely, as we're looking at. We have discussions with, the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, and also governance experts on this. Right now, let's try and establish how you are affected by vote buying on the basis of the just ended NPP presidential race. And we must emphasize that this is not limited to the New Patriotic Party, because this is a practice that many has actually sported across the political landscape in this country. So we've been, trying to do some analysis in terms of the figures, looking at the implications when it comes to the cost for you. And here are excerpts of what you have, on the screens right now, going with some of the scenarios that we have for you. But yesterday, the NPP's Deputy General Secretary, Haruna Mohammed, explained why political parties actually give money to their electorates. He says it's for transport purposes.
I'm not written to any aspirant to give out money. And if the aspirants so think that they want to support the delegates or the people or the party people, but probably they might have even given money to people who are not delegates to assist in some kind of operational work and assist in terms of how the conduct of election goes. And that's why I'm telling you, if you go to buy food and buy one meat and somebody come and give you 3 meat in addition, do you say that because I have been given money to buy 1 meat, I should stay to the 1 meat? No, if they have to support them with transport. But if any of them, if Samia Oko had said that they have given money to bribe, to change or to influence their conscience in terms of the voting, then the party would have taken
already.
I don't think that the elections, the process was mad.
There was no vote buying?
No, there was no vote buying at all. There was no vote buying. And I think that Professor Amakuba is free to, one of our building principles is the rule of law. And Professor Amakuba can go to court if he so thinks that there is something wrong. I think that it's always good for us to test the Constitution and to test the legal process in terms of how these things is being done. We have heard a number of times how vote buying is eating into our political landscape. But however, we have not taken the opportunity to test it. And I will challenge him to test that legal process for us to see how.
And you're not concerned as, the leadership of the NPP, that the kind of quality of leadership that you want, you might not find it as a result of, this kind of high stakes when it comes to money trooping in and creeping into your process of selecting a new leader.
I don't know which quality you're talking about.
Okay, let's look
out of the election. Somebody has been elected.
Right.
There is no single quality that is relative to the elected flag bearer of our party. We all know who Kennedy is, and for him to admit, not
on state resources to give as much as 400 Ghana cedis to delegates simply to exercise their franchise.
I disagree with the point that money has been given to people to exercise their franchise. I disagree. The people who were stakeholders in the elections, you just mentioned one, that they said they were giving them transport, which I can give you any amount of money for transport. It is not defined. If you give me 200 Ghana cedis for transport, I ask myself, if I'm going to the north, what will I use it to? If I want to enter a flight, how much money will I need? So the amount of transport that I'm giving will define the comfort I will want to give to myself in terms of transportation.
I see.
So if they give them transportation and they clearly define what they have given them, and we still want to mistakenly consider it as vote buying, then I am very, in budgeting strength count.
I appreciate that.
Yes, so if strength actually counts, you also look at your strength and then look at what you can provide.
So your strength as a political party was 50
at that particular point in time, that was what we could provide.
What were you targeting as the ideal amount?
There's no ideal, it's what you have. If you go targeting something you don't have, that is why you get deficits. So you target what you can do, and that is exactly what we did. That was what we were having at hand. And we did explain to them. The people did understand why we did so. And that is why you have not heard any complaint from the delegates of the party with regards to what we have given at that particular point in time. And that tells you that if we were to abuse incumbency, then the party would have been given much more money than what we did. But we clearly did not abuse incumbency.
Well, we're taking a break here on the Pulse. When we get back, we'll bring you some updates on this. Please stay on the Joy News channel. This is the Pulse. Of these issues in terms of vote buying, we're looking at how the other political parties have gone through various stages of, their political reorganization. And the clear trend you see creeping into all of this is, the claims of vote buying. How alarmed is the NCC about this phenomenon? And kindly unmute for us so we're able to get the point you're sharing with us.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. Can you hear me, please?
Loud and clear.
Right, thank you. For us as NCC, this has been a problem we highlighted right from the beginning of this year, on the 7th of January, when we issued a statement on the Constitution Day. This was one of the issues that we actually spoke about, that this new trend of money in politics in the way in which we are seeing it cannot be healthy for our democracy. In the past, it used to be rumors, you would hear people whispering here and there. But to think that 30 years into the Fourth Republic, we have actually retrogressed to a point where we see open distribution of money for whatever reason, and it cannot be healthy for our democracy.
How do you intend?
We are definitely concerned about it. I mean, this is not good even for the politicians. It's not good from the point of view of democracy, but it cannot be the first choice of the political elite or the political class to see this as, the most obvious way forward in terms of trying to mobilize the vote. I don't see how this is something that politicians find useful, because it's expensive. Money has to come from someplace. This may have the potential of directing attention from important things because you're so busy looking for the money to be able to undertake these exercises. So to be honest, it's not just from the citizens' point of view and from the point of view of democracy, it's actually really troubling. But even from the politicians' point of view, I don't see how this is the option that best suits their purpose.
How do you intend to deal with this challenge? Is it from the perspective of the voter population or looking at the political class?
I think it's both. From the point of view of citizens, we really have to work as a country, as a society, to a point where people will not even see this as an option, collecting money from politicians before voting as an option, because when you do that, you compromise yourself in a way. We want to arrive at a point in our democracy where we don't need to do this, where people don't feel that they need to be paid or they need to be given some assistance before they're able to go and vote or cast their ballot to elect leaders. We have to go past that. It's 30 years of the Republic, and if this is still
concerns are that this is remotely connected to
this money to find a way to return it. That's one. Secondly, if we reward this type of behavior, it means that we are going to get more of it. If we assess our political leaders and people we elect, if we assess them on the basis of their ability to dole out cash, then we are going to get more of that. If we begin to assess our political leaders on their ability to deliver the public goods that forms their part of the democracy arrangement, then we will get those things. So, some people might say it's some sort of chicken and egg situation. Which should we do first? Should we stop first, or should we stop demanding first? Do the citizens stop demanding? Or whatever the case may be, it's important that we arrive at a situation where the citizens find this unpalatable and the politicians find it, something that is not worth their while, something that they will not get rewarded for. If we continue to reward this bad behavior, we will continue to get more of it.
The suggestion from the experts who look at it from various ways, one of them is that let's try and move towards political funding of, state funding, I should say, of political parties. Could that not be one of the main ways of addressing this, having, an extreme control over party finances and their activities? Is that the solution to this problem?
It can be part of the solution. If we find a way to streamline party financing, that is one aspect of the solution. But we have to understand that if we don't have, if the citizens don't have the right orientation, this will continue to happen. It will just happen in a way that we won't see it. It will go underground, or it will happen on the black market or stuff like that. It is important that people don't feel, the orientation of the people, the mindset of the people is such that they don't feel that this is the right thing to do. That's where we are trying to get to as a democracy. That's why, as a maturing democracy, that's where we are trying to get to. Political party financing, streamlining that, it's important. Law enforcement and legal arrangements to make this uncomfortable, to make this something that people to find a way to deter people from doing this is one way. But I think that the most important thing is for citizens themselves not to automatically feel that this is the way to go. So investing in orientation, investing in building the right mindset among citizens to ensure that it's not their automatic go-to to say that, okay, so if you want me to vote for you, then give me some money. That will be where if we arrive there, then we would have made some serious progress.
You're also in the equation there because of your constitutional duty as the NCCE. What do you intend to do in terms of concrete programs and plans that you have for the coming days?
Certainly, I mean, it's very important, and that's why we did, even before the year's activities, political activities rolled out, we were already talking about this as something that we should look out for. It's actually a threat to the
Kathleen Yadi is the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education. Kathleen, losing you, a bit on that point you're raising. Can you take that point for us again in terms of the programs that you have in store? If you could just take that point for me again, Kathleen.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, loud and clear. I was just asking about the concrete.
Yes,
yes, now.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, to the point, right. The concrete steps you're taking there.
Sure. Right. I was saying that it's something that is of great concern to us as a commission, and that is why we highlighted it right from the beginning of the year, even before any of the political activity commenced. At the very first few days of 2023, we were already talking about it. In terms of interventions, we think that as a society, as a country, we really must get to a point where we commit to trying to build the right kind of citizens in the long term. It's not just a matter of maybe going out there and it's a one-off project that says that, okay, don't do this or do that. But we have to understand that if we are trying to get the right kind of citizens with the right orientation, we have to do consistent investment in that process over a period, in the medium to long term, consistent investment in trying to ensure that our citizens have the right mindset, not just for this aspect of the democracy, not just for the vote buying, vote selling business, but for all other aspects of citizenship. If we don't invest as a country, if we don't see that investment as important, we will continue to apply solutions that will not necessarily solve the problem. If you apply technology whereby maybe you have a surveillance system, if you strengthen law enforcement, if you do all these things around political party financing and all of that, all well and good. But as long as you have citizens who continue to think that this is the way to go about it, and this is the way to get the politicians to pay upfront for their vote, then you're going to put more and more money in those other things to become more and more difficult. And imagine that you have invested and now you have the kind of citizen who says that, wait a minute, Mr. Politician, I'm not judging you on the basis of 200 cedis or 400 cedis that I received today to go and cast my ballot, but I'm judging you on your ability to deliver the public goods that I am entitled to as part of our governance arrangement. When we get to that point, that is when we'll see development actually booming in our country, because we have the right kind of citizen, and that will definitely bring about the right kind of politician.
Do you think that we'll ever get there? There are those who share the opinion that, well, it's a very daunting task to ask Ghanaians at this moment to walk away from that trend that we've seen over the years amongst all of these political parties. In fact, even in national elections, we see that tendency of the political parties to extend that exercise of giving out some cash to the electorate as some form of transport, as they call it, before the elections. So it's eating really deep into our system now, becoming a norm, I should say.
Yes, and why is that so? If we are delivering public goods, if we have development, if our economy is booming and thriving, maybe people won't even need transport to get to the point where they cast their ballot. That's the first thing. Secondly, we are not different from other people in other countries. There are many countries where people make the effort to go and cast their ballots without necessarily being given financial inducement. So I don't buy the argument that we are so different as Ghanaians that this is something that we cannot do away with. I think that in other countries, people have invested in ensuring that people have the right orientation, citizens have the right orientation. And so if we do same, we will also arrive at that point. We should never think that, humanity is different from the types of humanity in countries where people behave in ways that we aspire to behave. Whatever it is that other human beings can do in terms of how they govern their society, how the governance arrangements of society, we can also do it. We just need to be committed and to work on a sustained basis to ensure that we get what we are looking for. We get the kind of society that we are looking for. So yes, it is important that we do all of these other things, but we also have to understand that it's not true that we are so far gone that there's no hope for us as a society, that it's totally impossible for us to arrive at a point where people are rewarding different types of behavior in terms of when it comes to electing their leaders. I don't think so. I think we are very capable of doing it. We just need to do the work of investing and building and orienting the minds of citizens to that point.
Grateful. Kathleen Ati, Chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education. Thank you for spending some time with us here on The Pulse.
Thank you so much.
Now, we take you to other national issues because a group of eco-conscious citizens are asking Parliament to invite Minister for Local Government and Rural Development to answer some questions on the status of areas designated as parks and gardens across some parts of the country. A couple of years ago, the same group fought against a similar attempt to construct a multi-story office building on the Parks and Gardens land here in Accra. However, members of the group say their campaign is being undermined now by the continuous encroachment on lands designated as, parks and gardens in some public places, with the latest being Wa, which is in the Upper West region. And confirmed reports suggest that this said piece of land is an area which has one of the buildings under construction being known as a petrol station, as the reports are indicating. So why is the eco-conscious citizens alarmed about this, and what would they want to see in the coming days? They want the Sector Minister, Dan Botcheri, to answer a number of questions. And joining us now is the National Coordinator for the group, Awula Sawa, and also Rafiq Salam, who's our Upper West Regional Correspondent. We'll get to Rafiq shortly. But Awula, thank you for spending some time with us. Let's start off, first of all, by getting your side of the story in terms of the reports you're getting about this said piece of land. What's the official status of it, and why is it now being encroached?
Well, as you know, there are so many parks and gardens all over the country. Now, we just got information from our contacts in WA that I think about 2 or so years ago, that's when the encroachment started. It was reported to the authorities, and my information is that they tried to stop it. But it has started again. And if you look at the state of the place, the buildings on it, and also look at the filling station, you see that there's a real problem going on. And one wonders why it wasn't nipped in the bud. As you know, the Ministry of Local Government has responsibility over parks and gardens because it's a department. So one wonders what is being done to stop the encroachment. And then the buildings that are there, which must be there unlawfully, because the land is Parks and Gardens land, and the name speaks for itself. It's for parks, it's for green spaces. It's not for concrete buildings. They need to be removed from there, because we need to have some respect for our green spaces. All over the country, they are being encroached upon. If it's not a forest belt, it's a forest reserve, it's a mangrove, it's a wetland. Any space we see, we build on, and this is unacceptable.
Has there been any attempt to reach out to, local authorities or perhaps the regional minister in the area?
Well, we're trying to do so, and what we're trying to do is to reach out to the chief executive at the municipal authority in Wa. Today, many people have sent messages to the local government minister, Honorable Dan Botcheri, because as I said, he has responsibility over parks and gardens. It is his department. He needs to stop the encroachment going on. So we've reached out to him. We are waiting to have a response. But be that as it may, the parks and gardens and those who have a mandate over it cannot be ignorant of the fact that the lands are being encroached upon. The encroachment didn't start today, so they need to fix it. They need to stop the encroachment, and they need to remove the buildings that are currently there.
Have you done your checks as to who now owns this property, if there's any political connection or what you suspect might be the case?
Well, there are all sorts of rumors. But we don't want to deal with rumors. We want to deal with facts. We know as a fact that the land was acquired for use as parks and gardens. We know as a fact that it's not private property. So if any transaction has taken place, it will be illegal. It will be just plain appropriation of land, like it's being done all over the country. We know that forest reserves are being built on. Parts of Achimota Forest have been declassified. Some people want to challenge it. There are all sorts of things going on. But if you're looking at the lawful situation, the land was acquired. Reversing this. So as far as we know, any building there is there unlawfully. It's not for private property. It's for parks and gardens to benefit the people of Ghana.
Rafiq Salam,
whatever is there right now is there, in my opinion, unlawful.
Let's see if we can, and I will just hold on for us. Let's see if we can get some perspective from Rafiq Salam, who's been covering the region for us. We'll get to him shortly, but I will have the point now about the nationwide conversation surrounding parks and gardens. The last year, or a couple of years, I should say, you also started that fight against the attempts to. If the word is declassify the one here in Accra, around cantonments, where of course concerns were rife that some properties were going to be put up on that piece of land. What's the status now?
One of our first campaigns was to stop the encroachment of parks and gardens land in Accra, as you've rightly said, opposite the DVLA. It came to our attention that there was an attempt to put up a multi-story office building on parks and gardens land in Accra. Totally unacceptable. Who in his right mind would think of putting up a multi-story office building on parks and gardens land when already the areas we have earmarked for parks have been built on? As I keep on saying, our forest reserves are being encroached. The green belt has receded. So we said enough is enough. This is not going to happen. We mounted a campaign, and by God's grace, it was successful. We thank the media who supported the campaign. We thank all those who signed the petition. And we thank the active citizens who joined the campaign. And we also went to the office of the president. We presented a petition. We went to the Attorney General's department to find out what on earth was going on. And by God's grace, it was not successful. We actually went to a meeting at Ladade Kotoko Municipal Assembly, where there was an attempt to rezone the area, because the area is currently green civic. So in order to put up the multi-story office building, they wanted to rezone the area and make it exclusively civic instead of green civic. By God's grace, it didn't go through. And as we are here today, Parks and Gardens is still standing, and they have not managed to put up the multi-story office building. So we thought this is good. So it's very, very disappointing to find out that the same thing is happening in Wa. So perhaps we have to do an audit of all our parks and gardens in Ghana and find out how many of them are still intact and how many are being appropriated. Because it seems we can't bear to see any green space. As soon as we see a green space, we decide we have to put a concrete building on it. Totally unacceptable. We go on so many conferences, we sign so many agreements, but we have no regard or respect for a green space.
I see. And there's a call you're making. We'll explore that shortly on the minister to be held before Parliament, as you're asking to answer some questions on the status of perhaps not just what's happening in Wa, as you're putting it, but across the country as well. Rafiq Salam is in that part of the country and joins us from the Upper West region. Rafiq, the calls and concerns surrounding this parks and garden lands in the Upper West region, Wa to be precise. What's your take on this in terms of the news, the rumors, and what we've been picking up so far?
I can tell you with specific to the land that you are talking about, which is located on the Rollins Street. That's from the police station, moving straight to Pogri. It's located to the right. A couple of years ago, we saw that this was a land that belonged to the Parks and Gardens, and then within a blink of an eye, we saw there was some rainstorm, and that really destroyed people's houses around that area. So the government at that time, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, came around that area and promised to put up that gutter. At the place, and we used to know that this place used.
So there's a new owner. So there's a new owner that property.
Police station, but unable to tell you. We don't know much about this, but what we know was that it used to be a place that, we used to have lots of butchers who were dealing with, shipping meat of goats and also sheep. That it was actually like a goat or a sheep market. And, these people were told that we compensated by the private owner, and then they moved to where the old butcher shop was. And then we also saw this drainage or these gutters that were being also worked on by a contractor. But also, we also have this contractor also working on the fuel station, which is about completion. So for now, we can't tell you the detail about what is really happening, but we can tell you for sure that the fuel station is over 80% complete.
I see. And finally, just to take your thoughts on what the headsmen and those who normally use the area, what's their status now in terms of probably reaction to this new takeover by the private developer?
It was really a tug of war between the people who used to use the place for their business and also the assembly. I remember the one municipal chief executive, Issa Kota at the moment, really had it tough, when they tried to even relocate the people from that particular area to the old butcher's shop. And so we don't know for now the terms and of agreement between them and then those butchers. But also the Parks and Gardens too, though, they are government agency, but they were also on the quiet, because for them, I will tell you that their arms were twisted to their back, were tied to their back. So there was no way that they were talking about it, because even, I can also report to you that there were even residents from the Jovile community who also said that that whole land does not belong to the government, And so it's really a complex situation. You have these landowners who are also saying that the whole land doesn't belong to, government, or like for that matter, the Parks and Gardens. So you have the assembly that also came in. But what I can tell you for sure that these butchers have been relocated and they're now doing their business very well around the old butcher shop. All
right, and I'm grateful that you're providing this context to the conversation. Rafiq Salama, Upper West regional correspondent there. Grateful for this update. Let's round off this conversation. The point about the context Rafik has provided, and that's informing your call, asking that Parliament summons the local government minister to answer some questions.
Absolutely. I mean, there has to be an audit of all parks and gardens land, because this is land our first president had wonderful foresight. In fact, in his time, parks and gardens was a ministry under a cabinet minister. He foresaw the importance of green spaces. For parks and gardens, there should be no filling station on it. There should be no structures. What we should have are trees and plants and so on and so forth. If you look at the north in particular, you look at the climate they have, we have no business felling trees to put up a petrol station on parks and gardens land. We should rather be planting more trees. So we need His Honourable Dan Botchwey to come to Parliament, explain what is going on, and we need to know when the petrol station will be pulled down. Because one thing that was said was that hands appear to be tied, and that's exactly the case. It seems like high flyers decide they want a particular piece of land, whether it's a buffer zone, whether it's whatever it is, and then they make a case, and the next thing you know, they're putting up a building or a fuel station or whatever on the land. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. What consultation have we had about the whole affair? You can't just, start carving off land that belongs to parks and gardens to family and friends. That's totally unacceptable. So let's have a public inquiry. Let's find out what is going on. But in the meantime, we would like the Minister for Local Government to be invited before Parliament to explain to us what is going on, when the unlawful structures will be demolished, and how we're going to ensure that all parks and gardens within Ghana remain intact and are not carved off to persons unknown.
So I'm grateful. We'll leave it here for now and see what Parliament will do about this. We'll also be monitoring the space and bringing you some updates, as Rafik Salam is pointing out to us. You're watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. When we get back, we'll look at Accra's roads fast becoming a danger, but of course that trend is changing now with the decline in depth, as we're seeing. I will tell you what's accounting for this and speak to the experts. Please stay with us.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Introducing the Kensington Heights at Airport City Kumasi, the largest modern smart city in West Africa. The Kensington Heights is your bridge to the skies, where you can access direct flights to international destinations, including the USA, UK, and Europe. Imagine a world where convenience, comfort, and investment opportunities converge seamlessly. The Kensington Heights offers an incredible opportunity for families, investors, and businesses worldwide. Enjoy spacious and beautifully designed luxury suites, executive suites, one-bedroom apartments, and 2- and 3-bedroom penthouses, complete with world-class amenities and easy access to the new Kumasi International Airport. All units are on sale now, starting at $69,950. Be a part of the future of Kumasi and reserve your property today. For more information, visit our websites www.thekensingtonheights.com or www.airportcity.com.
The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23rd to Sunday, November 26th, 2023. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. We are bringing everything housing under one roof, just for you. See you there. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own. And sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. Saint Gobain, making the world a better plan. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, Kumasi, by HDG Homes Limited.
And you're welcome back. A bit of an update for you on the story we've been following all throughout the week, which has got to do with the renal dialysis unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The update we have and are getting through is that there seems to be a change in the situation now after days of mounting pressure on the authorities. Fred Smith is the head of our health desk joining us now. Yesterday we were just speaking with some of the patients who are in studio with us, sharing their thoughts on what should be done about this. But there is good news for them.
Yeah, indeed. After months of closure, the dialysis unit at Kolebu Teaching Hospital reopened to the public, and the statement from the hospital indicates that happened yesterday. So since yesterday, we've heard from some of the patients who've also confirming the hospital has started calling them to start lab tests ahead of dialysis treatment. But in this statement that the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has released, it is saying that they reopened following engagements with the Health Minister, Honorable Kweku Agyemang-Manu. And that engagement took 1 week to conclude. It says that the ministry is working closely with the health ministry. The hospital is working closely with the ministry to try and offset the 4 million debts that they've incurred as a result of under-recoveries.
And I was about asking that question simply because of the kind of reports that we've seen and the reports that, first of all, and that was disclosed to us by the CEO of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, telling us that the hospital is indebted with over a tune of 4 million cedis. I believe that was the figure he gave. Yes, we don't know if that's out of the way now, is it?
No, so what the statement is saying is that the hospital is working together with the ministry to try and offset that $4 million CD debt that was occasioned as a result of the under-recoveries that they were making. You remember this whole story about the dialysis unit came up when we heard that the charges had been increased by the hospital, and especially without the approval of
and at this point, this is where there are so many questions, because what we see now on the screens are excerpts of that statement pointing out that the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is now informing stakeholders and the general public that the renal dialysis unit has been reopened, and the date they're actually giving is Monday. which, of course, well, there are so many questions about that because on Monday, the patients were equally raising concerns that the facility was not open as of then. But the 4 million debt now, as the statement is pointing out on the screens, is what is being dealt with now, working closely, as management is indicating, with the Ministry of Health, with the sector minister showing that something will be done about this. But there is also the point, Fred, that we're seeing about Parliament and the need for the House to expedite action on some proposed new fees and charges. That was the source of the whole controversy when, of course, a patient was complaining about the 700 cedis plus and charges as well. Is there any clear sense from the hospital on what will happen?
Well, there's not been much beyond this statement the hospital has released, but of course you can see that the under recoveries or the charges they are taking from patients, which we said was too high or unapproved and therefore had to be reversed, it's actually hurting the hospital, and they think that to make this treatment sustainable, then they have to charge how much they have spent in treating the patients so that, they balance the books. Under this circumstance, the hospital is actually asking Parliament to approve the increases in the fees and charges to enable them to charge. You know, the conversation since we had the thought leadership on the dialysis crisis has been that, yes, people can't afford. Yeah, we recognize the need for us to increase the charges to meet our expenses on the service. But of course, people can't afford them, so either the NHIA will come in and support persons who need dialysis treatment, or the people will be made to pay, or government will find some way to do this.
From our sources, what's the hospital intending to do about the new fees and charges? Will it remain as the ministerial directive has been, around the 300 or 400 cedis, or this would still be the new charge of a 700 cedis plus?
Well, the tone of the statement suggests that the hospital is looking up to Parliament to speed up the processes towards the review of the fees and charges. Until Parliament increases these fees, they will not be able to. It will be illegal for them to pass it on to patients, and that's why there was hue and cry when they did so. Therefore, they are asking Parliament as a matter of urgency to do this so that they can save the units. The unit can continue to run regardless of what costs they are incurring.
Fred Smith is the head of our health desk here at Joy News, and we'll keep following the story which we have done all throughout the week, starting on Monday, where, of course, we're bringing you some updates from our colleague Kwarting, who was there at the facility, pointing to us that the facility was not open as of then. And now the confirmation is that from management is that now the facility will now be open to outpatients, which means that it's good news for the renal patients. And we will keep monitoring the space and bring you some updates. But for now, across roads are becoming safer, as a new report is showing consistent decline in deaths and accidents on the roads within the capital. Now, knockdowns, though, continue to increase. These are actually the findings that we're seeing in a new report released by Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative, and the reports carried out in collaboration with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly reveals that weekends are the most dangerous on Accra's roads, with 47% of deaths occurring on the weekends.
Great. So in terms of the key findings, we observed that in the year under review, which is 2022, compared to the previous year, 2021, we realized that overall crashes reduced by 22%. Similarly, death also reduced by 17%. And what is quite interesting is that in that same period, speeding recorded in Accra also reduced from 50% in 2021 to 43% in 2022. So clearly, you can see that in that same period, road crashes and its associated deaths reduced. So you see a strong correlation between speeding and severe road crash outcomes. So that's one of the key findings. So in 2021, there was 123 road deaths, and if you compare it with the 2022, it's reduced to 102 overall deaths that was reported. Because there are instances where the fatalities or road crash occurs and the victims involved decide to kind of like have an out-of-court settlement. So we are very careful in saying reported road deaths that have been given to the police. So these are the indicators or the outcomes that we found in the data. And if you look at it in terms of the road user types, we saw that 77% of the fatalities was recorded among the vulnerable road users. And when we say vulnerable road users, we are looking at the pedestrians, the motorcyclists, and the bicyclists. They are vulnerable because on the road space or on the road corridor, they don't have any covering, sort of a space covering them, unlike vehicle occupants who are in a more safer or more confined space. So for vehicle occupants, you realize that they accounted for a lesser amount of road there, which was 23. And that is a typical picture that we see in most urban spaces, because the vulnerable road users are these people who are very less protected, let me say. Unlike on the interlands, on the highways, from intercity highways, you realize that whenever you hear of a road crash, these are victims in a bus. And that's why we record more fatalities on these intercity highways among vehicle occupants as compared to in the city or urban space, where these vulnerable road users rather account for most of these fatalities.
Well, let's have a conversation on the back of that. Joining us is Dr. Raphael, Regional Technical Advisor for Africa on-road injury surveillance at Bloomberg Philanthropies, and also Ebenezer Kofi Beidou is road injury surveillance coordinator in Accra for Bloomberg Philanthropies. And thank you, both gentlemen, for spending some time with us here. And we've seen, you outdoor this report. I believe that's what you're holding with you now. But why is this significant for road safety?
Okay, so thank you for the question. There's a saying that before you can manage anything, you have to measure it. And without data, you can't make any informed decision.
Right.
So in our space within road safety, before we undertake or execute any form of intervention, we should be able to understand the context, the magnitude. Is it really too severe that we need the needed attention? So with the data, it points to us who is most vulnerable, when are even the risk periods, as well as the high-risk locations, to help us then streamline our effort to address these fatalities and crashes in these locations.
So what are the key findings in this document that the general public should be concerned about?
So the report, as you rightly said, was outdoor today, and the main findings are that we've seen a decline in the number of people who are dying on the roads of Accra. We've also seen a decline in the number of crashes, 17% and 22% respectively. However, we are very cautious about this. We don't want to, sound the trumpet of victory yet, because we still see that pedestrian deaths are still high, and pedestrians make up the majority of those dying on the roads of Accra. So these definitely are the key findings. Another key finding is the fact that we see, and we've seen this trend over the last 5 years, those aged 20 to 29 have the highest proportion of deaths. And these are people who are young people in school who just started life, about to start a family, and so on and so forth. So it definitely has implications for economic burden and so on. And then also the high-risk locations. There are specific locations in Accra that are high risk for fatal crashes, particularly the N1 corridor. There are various spots there that have accounted for a majority of the deaths. And then finally, a key finding is that we see a decline, a very steady decline in speeding prevalence in Accra. Nonetheless, it's still high at 43%. What it basically means is that if you take 10 vehicles, 4 of them were observed speeding above the posted limit. So these, in a nutshell, were the key findings from the report released today.
And you talk about weekends in the report. How are they becoming a safer spot or period, or rather a danger to road users?
Yeah, so for the weekend crashes, it's quite interesting. The analysis we conducted, we realized that there were more crashes reported during the weekdays as compared to the weekends. In terms of the fatal ones or the most severe ones, recorded more of these fatalities. In fact, nearly half, given the reference year 2022, during the weekend. And one of our partners, they conduct observational studies on speeding. That's the Johns Hopkins International Injury Research Unit. The Alpha independent study actually they conducted in the city of Accra showed that vehicular speeds are twice frequent during the weekends as compared to the weekdays. So clearly, the main underlying risk factor here is speeding. And as Dr. Iwo rightly said, when we observe that vehicular speeds reduced in that same year period, crashes and related deaths also reduced. So there are a number of factors that could be attributed to this decline. First of all, we look at during weekend, we know there's some sort of reduced enforcement within that period, and also some other behavioral risk factors like drink driving over the weekends. As we know, Ghanaians, we don't joke with our social events. So upon returning, some people try to get tipsy, and on our highways, realize that during low vehicular flow, people think there's enough space on the road.
Right. So what are the recommendations then, and what should we be looking forward to?
Sure. So first of all, what we are saying is that we need to prioritize pedestrian safety in Accra. The profile of deaths, road traffic deaths in urban areas is definitely different from non-urban areas. In urban areas like Accra, we are seeing that a lot more pedestrians are accounting for the death. So the first recommendation is we need to prioritize pedestrian safety. The good thing is that there are low-hanging fruit. So there are things or activities or actions that can be done that are low cost but high impact. For example, providing designated crossings for pedestrians, freeing pedestrian walkways from obstacles and so on, implementing speed calming measures in high pedestrian areas and so on. So definitely improving pedestrian safety has to be at the forefront of any interventions that we want to implement to improve outcomes.
Is there any word to people out there on how they can actually find the report, perhaps other groups that you're seeking to work with on this note?
Okay, so for the report, with the initiative, we're working on this road safety initiative. We work closely with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, so on their website it's available for all of them. Right. And just finally, I would want to say that there's a saying among those of us in the road safety space that road safety is a shared responsibility. So it's high time that we recognize it as a public health issue, requiring organized community effort to address this menace that we have.
Dr. Ralph, any final?
I would say that we have limited resources in this country. There are a number of things competing for the limited resources we have. And one of the ways we can address these preventable deaths and injuries is relying on the data, using the data to inform decisions, because then it guides you specifically on things that you need to do. So those would be my parting words.
Well, and I'm grateful, Dr. Ebenezer, for joining us in studio. And you're still with us here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. Of course, you need to be safe out there as you use the road, and also watch out for all the safety signs. We're taking a break here. We'll be right back.
Wednesday on the Joy Business Van, we are the production facility from Home Food Processing and Packaging Enterprise. Chief Executive Dr. Kwame Asan will show us how his flagship product, Sonaba Baby Cereal, is produced, an idea that came to him while he was studying in China.
we had a course which was nutrition. So during that course, reading the notes, I realized how important we can get nutrients from plants and how those nutrients were vital. So it just came to my mind, why don't you do something for babies? I realized mothers were looking for something healthy, but then they had no option than to just pick what was on the market. So I realized if we could bring something that is healthy, the parents were going to accept.
From Home Food Processing and Packaging Enterprise on the Joy Business Van this Wednesday on TV, radio, online and on ground. The Joy Business Van is powered by Joy Business and supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and MTN. What are we doing today?
The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23rd to Sunday, November 26th, 2023. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. We are bringing everything housing under one roof, just for you. See you there. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own. And sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. Saint Gobain, making the world a better plan. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, Kumasi, by HDG Homes Limited.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana in 2016 pledged to ensure free senior high school education for every Ghanaian child. Under the leadership of the President and the Sector Minister, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Eruchum, the first-year enrollment has risen from 308,000 in 2016 to over 500,000 students being enrolled each year under the policy, making over 1.6 million children enrolled under the policy as of 2022. The Transformation Agenda series on education exposes you to the varied and various achievements of government in the area of education, delving into the policies, interventions, and infrastructure development that has occurred under the leadership of the President. Be my guest this and every Tuesday as we bring you documentaries from across the 16 regions of Ghana on Joy News between 6:30 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Transformation Agenda series on education, reimagining education for national development.
Thanks for staying with us. Imagine dropping out of school at primary 5 and junior high school 2 due to financial constraints, but still being able to lift the burden of others through engineering and innovation. Well, that's the story of Stephen and Sefah, who are leveraging their talent to bring relief to an entire community. The two brothers who hail from the Sukpe community in the Saturn district of the Volta region have, beyond their personal challenges and educational background, manufactured a car and a corn shelling machine to help farmers in their community. My colleague James Avaji tells the story in the following report, narrated by Mami Esi Nyamiche.
Gear, 5 gear CLM. Back. First one front. Second one.
This car has 5 gears, just like the cars that you are used to. The only difference is that the reverse gear lever is separate.
Maybe I reverse a shifty back. Maybe I forward a throw shifty gear.
Sefah and Stephen, two brothers who have decided to put their creative skills to work, described to me how they built their own car. The highest level of education is primary 5 and JHS 2. The perception is one will require a higher level of education to invent. However, this is not the case for these brothers. Their inspiration is fed by their deep passion to create. Stephen, the eldest of 5 siblings, dropped out of school at primary 5 and took to fishing to help his 4 younger siblings. But that help wasn't enough to see Sefah through junior high school, compelling him to also drop out in 2017.
We only completed junior high school. We didn't serve as apprentices under any master. We believe it is just a gift from God. We see a lot of the designs in our sleep and manufacture them.
But this plot did not prevent them from dreaming. Dreams that traveled beyond the classroom. The Lowly brothers decided to nurture their engineering talent. Sefah tells me how it all started.
We were told our grandparents didn't do any apprenticeship, but yet they were able to construct canoes and repair a range of machines. So we also took after them. We just play around with our thoughts and they manifest into something useful.
Now the fruits of their ingenuity are beginning to take shape. They have already manufactured a car, a corn shelling machine, a fishing outboard motor, and a host of others.
Iron rod. Chemical manufacturer. Okay.
We used angle bars, iron rods, and some motor spare parts to manufacture the car. It uses a 1.75 horsepower engine. It was a sport engine we bought from some spare parts dealers and repaired it.
Go away.
Let me back player.
Engine engine ball. Oh, I see. Old engine, let me back player.
Oh, okay.
Stephen says his car has already undergone a second remodification, improving on an earlier model.
The first one, if we want to keep me work with wheelbarrow tire, yeah, my global and yatapamono reverse him. Kaka nemi te paro imbe mi atre. Ikwe be mi find difficult.
The first car we manufactured had wheelbarrow tires. It also did not have reverse gear, making it difficult to navigate. So we decided to fix a reverse gear and change the tires into car tires.
I reverse, I do go, I try forward.
Growing up in a farming community with several challenges, the two Loli brothers decided to use their creations to bring some relief to farmers. They've also created a corn shelling machine, but how does it work? Stephen explains.
There is engine there. You start the engine first. If you start the engine, the engine starts working. You open this place. After open this place, you fill some of the corn and pour it here. After pouring it, you close it. If you close it, you pull. Yeah, you pull this thing, the cover like this. The corn will drop. Close it back again. After that, you start seeing the corn coming into the bowl, like this.
In 17 minutes, the machine is able to shell 1.5 bags of corn, an innovation the farmers are enthused about.
We can use a whole day to beat and shell this amount of corn manually if we're many. 1 to 3 people can take 3 days to shell with the hand. The machine has come to help. It has lessened our burden.
2 days. Machine ne lebli nyonyo guma edidi poto ekpenarementi a lot.
The two say their focus is to improve their machines and produce them on a large scale to help others.
Okay, mi bakpona neviande kafia ko wonke mi otaroji nyebenka mi awo ovu.
Fulfilling our dream is delaying because we don't have financial support. We did these ones from our own little savings. Our goal is to manufacture stronger cars that can convey food from the hard-to-reach villages to town. We are appealing to anyone who wants to support us with equipment, cash or anything to promote our work. That's all we are asking for. Help from anyone to enable us improve society.
One piece Till
help comes, Sefah and Stephen will continue to do their best to improve the lives of the community in which they live. James Avage's report for Joy News.
Well, such an inspiring story there, but let's head to the Tofloko electoral area in the Down West District, where disturbances there claimed 2 lives yesterday. The District Security Council Assembly called for calm as it tries to reduce the tension in the area. And we get to the statement for you, as you see on the screens right now, pointing to the fact that the attention of the Down West District Assembly has been drawn to a civil unrest that led to the death of 2 persons in the Tofloko electoral areas at the time of releasing this statement. The cause of these latest tensions largely has gotten to do with the stalemate between local salt miners and the electoral Kem Songo salt project, which has culminated into some acts of vandalism by irate youth of the area, destroying some 4 excavators belonging to Electoral Chem Ghana Limited. The District Chief Executive, Honorable Samson T. Pangpa, who had gone to the electoral area owing to the receipt of a distress call, was brutally attacked with his vehicle vandalized in an attempt to escape the squawking youths, numbering about 300 in total. Subsequent to these, the DCE sought medical attention at the Sege Polyclinic in Adan West District Assembly, where he was treated and discharged, but has been bailed to seek extensive medical care to rule out any possibilities of internal injuries. And that's the latest on the statement that we have coming through. Joining us on Zoom is the District Coordinating Director of the Adan West District, Aaron Otu. Thank you, sir, for your time. First, though, just explain to us what triggered these disturbances.
So it's a stalemate between Electrochemical Ghana Limited and then some local source miners of the Ofosu electoral area. This has been long-standing, and we thought a resolution has been reached, and so going forward we shouldn't be experiencing such magnitude of clash that would result in a death and then damage to property. But unfortunately that is exactly what happened yesterday. It's an unfortunate incident. We really condemn it in no uncertain terms, and we are looking forward that in the future such clashes wouldn't occur. I indicated DISEC was going to meet in an emergency and has done so. The feuding parties have been directed to stay clear of the salt mining area that is in contention, one, and there's going to be a constant security presence in the area to ward off any clash that we may not foresee. We are also meeting the parties on the 13th and 14th of November, and then to tell them of the recommendations and if they should falter, what befalls them. And again, we are also going to prosecute any persons who are found to have caused damage to the property of Electrochem. So these are the decisions that DISEC has taken.
I just hope that the DC is in good health as we speak.
Yes, it is much better. But of course, he's a strong man, and so if you could hardly tell if there's anything wrong with him. But he has been to the hospital today, and I'm yet to speak with him to find out exactly what the doctors have said.
Okay, and we'll keep watching the space and also get some updates from you. But I just also hope that you're putting in place further security arrangement to protect the area.
So the divisional commander was in the meeting of DISEC, and by enough security presence is in the area. And we are only hoping, we are only praying that we wouldn't encounter any of such incidents. As an assembly, these things come and they actually becomes a border on us. We want to work in tranquility and in peace. We don't expect that clashes would occur and then death would also and damages to property. That I don't think anybody will be happy experiencing this.
And we're grateful for your time. Thanks for spending some time with us. Aaron Otu, District Coordinating Director there, speaking to us on the latest that we're learning of. But the Trades Union Congress is calling on Ghanaians to intensify their prayers to safeguard the economy. The TUC asserts that the country is no longer at a crossroads, but at the edge of a cliff, waiting for any further wrong move to collapse. Dr. Yao is the Secretary General of the TUC and suggests that there are fundamental issues with the current government's economic mismanagement, and therefore urges all Ghanaians to get involved with prayers in preventing a total economic breakdown.
We are in a state that all Ghanaians, wherever you are, you should have Ghana in mind, whatever you are doing. If you are at your workplace, think about Ghana. And whatever you do, do it in the interest of Ghana. If you are in a church and you are praying, pray for Ghana.
Why should we do that now?
Because we are in a very serious situation. As I said, we are standing at the edge of a cliff. And so any wrong move can land us down. Let us all work together to get Ghana out of the danger. And I'm sure we all benefit from that. Are you not
seeing the government doing that, taking out us, all of us out from this?
Only government. I'm saying every Ghanaian. I mean, we created the government.
Yeah, we can play our part.
So everybody should play their part. Government must also play its parts. Government must also play its part. Every Ghanaian should play their part. As I said, if you are at the workplace, think about Ghana. If you are in church, pray for Ghana. Because where we are, we need a lot of prayers. We are a trade union. You should understand that. So our main focus has to do with work-related issues. That's what we do. The Trade Union Congress was set up for workers. So we usually focus on workers' issues. But we realize that if the nation doesn't do well, workers will not do well. So we are shifting our focus not only on workers, but also on national issues. That is why the manifesto has been prepared. The manifesto is a public declaration of our positions on almost everything in this country. That's why it's very comprehensive. And that's why we are talking about things that you hardly will hear TUC talking about. Because it's a manifesto. We are talking about the economy. We are talking about human development. We are talking about investment policy. We are talking about labor market issues, of course. And we are talking about governance. Usually you will not hear TUC talking about constitutions and so on. But because this is a manifesto, we are also talking about things that affect the country, including the need for the change of the constitution of this country.
Well, however, the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, who was invited by TUC to that policies for political parties manifesto ahead of the 2020 general elections, indicated that the economy could have been saved if civil society organizations had collaborated with the NDC to hold the Akufo-Addo administration accountable.
We could have avoided this unpleasant situation. The signs of this crisis were there for all to see. A conflicted finance minister whose only interest was to borrow endlessly and mar our economy in the quagmire of debt was obvious from as far back as 2019. We could see it coming. A president whose budget was creatively crafted to hide huge liabilities in order to present a favorable economic outturn to the world so that he could borrow more from the international capital market was evident for all to see. Appointment of family and friends into various positions in government, brazen interference to obstruct the fight against corruption, reckless abuse of the public purse, arrogance, and luxury in the conduct of public officers have all been characteristic of this administration since its inception in 2017. It didn't start today. But comrades, it is regrettable for me to note that at such a crucial time in our nation's life, society's moral voice refused to speak up against these unfortunate developments in our democratic governance. NDC was left alone as the solitary voice seeking to hold the government accountable and speaking up for the voiceless Ghanaians. And we were often cast out as spoiled brats who were ranting just because we had lost power. Today, the chickens have come home to roost. And we are all affected. As he said, country broke, country no broke, we all dey inside. There must be an end to this decline and a restoration of stability.
Now, the voter registration exhibition exercise by the Electoral Commission is ending today with an alarming low turnout. This has been the case since the exercise commenced. Many exhibition centres on the last day of the exhibition were characterised by hearty chats between officials as the places remain virtually empty. The exercise, according to the EC, is part of the preparation ahead of the local level elections scheduled for December 19. My colleague Jacqueline Anzamayaboa visited some of the centres and comes through with this report.
It's the last day of the voter register exhibition exercise that lasted for 5 days. Currently, I am at Ofosu East. Speaking to officials. They were recording some low turnout here over the previous days. And today being the last day, I'm here with one of the officials, and for her to share with me some of the insights that she's seen or she's witnessed so far. Hello, Patience. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm okay.
So you've been here for 5 days now. Can you tell me, how has the experience been like?
It's okay. It's okay, even though we were expecting large number of people. But so far, what we've gotten is okay.
So far?
It's okay.
Roughly, can you tell us the number that you were expecting here?
Out of 100, I was expecting 80-85%, but we got 50-65%.
The 50 would constitute about what number for you? Is it up to 30?
More than 30.
You had more than 30?
Yes, please.
Okay, so far I've had about 281 people out of 505 people.
Okay, so would you say that your turnout has been very good or low as other centers are recording?
Well, it's good.
I'm expecting around 791 voters to come and check.
Okay. All right, now today is the last day. How many, it's midday already, how many do you have so far?
I have around 59 voters who have come to check so far.
Out of the 791? 59.
59 is the turnout as at this time or at this moment.
Then being here for all these days, how do you feel about this?
Well, I can't say much. Is their right to come and check or not? So if they feel they will come and check or not, is their right. But due to some one or two things, I may say maybe the announcement didn't go well.
Okay, so far I'm expecting like 537 people to come and check their name.
Okay, and how many people have been here so far?
So far I had only 48.
48 out of the 500 plus people?
Yes, since last week.
All right.
Yeah.
We are expecting more than 1,000. Yes.
But how many have shown up? Over today is the last day. How many people have shown up so far?
So far, they are not even up to 30. Yes, because we have to finish before we combine from the first day to today. So we wouldn't know precisely, but so far it's not even up to 30. Yeah.
And which area is this?
This is Ofosu Central Post Office.
I've been to a couple of the centers at Ofosu East and Ofosu Central, and when you get there, most of the officers are idle, waiting on voters to come there and check their names and details that they have. But that hasn't been the case, as I said earlier, speaking to most of them. There has been a low turnout right here at Alajo Post Office, where I currently am. They're expecting more than 1,000 people, more than 1,000 voters to come here, but they have less than 30 people showing up to check their voting details. Right here, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yebua reporting for Joy News.
That's all we have in this package. I am blessed, so you can log on to myjoyonline.com for updates. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.